So let's get started with my stock picks for today. So this is Boeing in front of me, and let's quickly jump to the weekly chart. So just to make it a little bit more clear. So here we have this, or we are trading within this kind of triangle, and this here, this candlestick. If you are going for a long term, or you're willing to wait a little bit longer until we reach these highs, which would here be roughly a risk of 2.9, or if you make it a little bit more simpler and go for a 2 point, this would be the trade. Now the stop loss would here be the this candlestick. Since this here is, or it seems like it could turn into a bullish divergence, and once we see a breakout of this triangle, we could go to 250 and 270 where we were previously. Now the daily chart. So this support line here at 2.5ish acted here now for the third time as a pretty good support line, and at the same time we saw this huge bullish candlestick yesterday. So the shorter term target would be roughly this area here at around 2025 to 2030. So this would be the target here, um, something like this. Now if you go take a look at the forward chart here, we saw this pretty huge bullish candlestick here, the second one going to the 50 EMA. And if we see what happened last time, the last two times we saw kind of the same patterns and we rallied straight up. So this could happen now, and at the same time we could break out of this triangle, which would open the door to go much higher. So now taking a look at the 1 hour chart, here we saw this rally and we are here targeting the 200 EMA. And usually what happens after this is, if we can see a breakout, we usually see a cross between these three EMAs here. So if that were to happen, and if then we would start to see a turnaround where this here is the 200 EMA and the 20 and 50 go to the higher part. So I would then here look for, this could here be after we retest the triangle and see a retest to the 20 and 50 day EMA. This is where I would be a buyer and target this area here. So it would look something like this here. I mean, it depends how much or how far we will pull back and how this trade will actually look like, but it could be something like this, which would be here a simple 2.0 risk reward ratio. But the last times, usually we just went straight up here. We came back to the 200 EMA and then we rallied all the way up. So this is what I would look out for here as well. We saw, well, here we retested the 50 EMA from the bullish channel and went higher all the way. So anyway, I would look here to be a buyer since we pretty much broke out of this bearish trend with a pretty significant bullish candlestick. So this is here a sign to me that we could simply go towards this area. So this was Boeing. The next one would be um, Facebook. Well, let me quickly check where the. Well, let's go with this one. Doesn't really matter at this point. So Facebook again, looking at the daily chart. So we retested the 200 EMA, and usually here we broke below it. It was due to COVID, and in 2018 again, since we had this crash, we went to the downside. But usually, once we retest the 200 daily, we see a move to the upside, just because Facebook is one of the stocks that just simply go higher with time, and this would here be a classical pullback. So a pretty good chance to buy. I mean, if we break lower and see a move like we did here last year due to Corona, or as we saw in the crash 2018, then we would simply see a trend, a change of trend. But for now, we could still see a move to the upside. And again, looking here at the 4-hour chart, we are seeing lower lows and here a divergence on the RSI, which often indicates that we will see a bullish run or a bullish move. Now, if we quickly draw this trend line here, well, for now, let's take this one. So you can see here the EMAs going to the upside, and we are here retesting the 200 EMA. Of course, we could get rejected by it, um, but since we are here going higher after here, we formed again a double bottom and divergence on the other side, and here we could go higher. So if we manage to break out here and form a retest here, this would be where I would enter my trade and be a buyer for a longer position on Facebook. So my stop loss would be slightly below the support line here, because if we break this line, then we could go much lower and really see a move like we did in 2018. So this would be the Facebook analysis. So the next stock would be the Royal Caribbean Cruise. So if we check here the daily, we saw again here this downtrend, and here a pretty huge breakout. So target would be here on this resistance line that previously we got rejected by it at 94 to 96, 7ish, 8ish. So but here the RSI has pretty much enough of room to go there after, especially after this bullish candlestick on the daily. So on the 4-hour chart, we pretty nicely broke out of this trend line, the 1-hour chart as well. Now if we add the EMAs once more, this doesn't look too nicely. Let's quickly change it to something else. Here and the EMA 20 that I used previously. So here it looks again like we will see a shift in momentum where because here we had this double bottom again, and this bullish divergence, and here we will likely have a crossover. Once this happens here, this will be the 200 EMA. If we quickly make it blue, so this one here will be the yellow line, which is going obviously on an uptrend here, and here this one, which will be the 50 EMA. So at some point, once this happens, often what we see is some kind of a pullback and retest. And if we manage to do this here at the, it could be sometimes if we see a move like this, which goes a little bit this kind of pattern, we often retest the 50 and 20 EMA area, which is where I would be buying the first pullback to the 50 or 20 EMA. Or here we can see a pullback to this line, the 200 EMA, which is where I would enter my trade. Otherwise, we might here see a complete straight line to the upside, something like we did here, where we simply move along the 20 EMA. So depending how things go today, these are my entry points, and the target is here around this area. So if we go from here and target this line, so here the stop loss should be maybe at the 200 EMA, and the other option would be if we really see a pullback to the 200 EMA, something like this. Those are all 2.5 risk reward ratios. So anyway, this was the analysis, or these were my 3 stock picks for today. So thanks for watching.